Hey guys, today's objective is to finish up uh, learning about how the enzymes interact with the food we eat and their role and when these macronutrients actually begin breaking down on the enzymatic level and become absorbed into the bloodstream and delivered to our cells to be used for whatever we need them for. Uh, and then also kind of brush up on cell transport because that's going to be a part of it. Today, though, go down to this link right here, Digestive Response. Click on that, and it should take you to all my resources. Uh, by now, you should have a good handle on what the organs of the digestive system are and generally what they do. And matter of fact, you may even have an idea about which organs produce what enzymes, when, and where in response to the food we eat, and that's good. Down here, of course, don't forget about some of these anatomical features and abilities that these things have that enable them to do their job. Take a look at those. But down here in this section, the similar but varied response to the three macronutrients, these first two links are kind of an introduction. These three links right here are YouTube videos that I created, basically walking you through three different animations. I'd stop it, pause it, give you some I guess annotations, some pointers, things like that. Maybe an explanation to help you understand what's going on. So you can watch that, you can have that, and replay it as many times as you need to help you understand what's going on. These down here are other videos similar to these or animations, covering similar concepts, but again, pay attention. Some of these, the ones, including the ones that I created YouTube videos from, and the ones below here may be more detailed than others. I really, for fat ones, for the fat absorption, these two are pretty good, especially this one's got a quiz on at the end of it for review. Kind of review some of the bigger concepts. Down here, of course, I've got the links for the different types of transport that these molecules are using to actually get across into cells and into the bloodstream. All right, so pay attention to those. Refresh yourself on those things, what they are, compare them, contrast them. These are both types of diffusion, but why is one called facilitated and one just simply passive diffusion? This is called active transport. Why is it called active transport? What about its mechanism caused scientists to determine or decide to call it active transport? And then endocytosis or exocytosis. Brush up on what those things are. So again, and the whole idea is to start putting together that artifact, that product. But here's the thing: I don't want you to overthink this or make it more complex than you need to. Now, yeah, you can make it as complex and detailed as you want. Those who want to shoot for those higher level scores, I understand that. But make sure you guys are paying attention to my scoring rubric, which I gave you. I'll pull that up here in just a second. But I want you guys to keep this in mind. Again, some of the things you can do, you can create a visual collage, song or poem, story. I need to add this, but some of the kids were like, could we create like a review game or a test with answer keys? Yeah, I mean, great, whatever. Because my goal is I want to see what you know. I want to know that you can take this information and generate your own understanding from it. Put it in the words that you could give to your classmates and they would understand what's going on. Anybody can do a Google search and dump Google information onto a slide and on a PowerPoint slide and hand it in. That's not necessarily learning. That's just doing legwork and busy work. All right, I want to see that you have a real understanding of this stuff. So if you can explain it in a way that one of your peers could understand it, that's the key. Einstein said if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough, and that's the goal. Can you explain these complex things, which they are complex, but can you explain it in a simple manner where a peer of yours could understand? And that's the goal. That's a sign of true learning. You can use analogies, metaphors to help you generate your understanding, but just put it in your own words, all right? Explain what's going on, how these things work. But again, focusing on the objectives here, this is the thing that I emailed to you guys last time. This lab practical portion will be a separate portion, so don't put from row 6 down is what I'm going to assess you guys on with this product or project, you want to call it that. But again, I'm looking for, did you include all the organs and glands in the process? All right, either you did or you didn't. And understand, if there's no option for 3, the 3 is the 4. All right, that is the A. So you got them all in there. Great. So as I'm reading through, say you do a story, if I'm reading through it and as I'm reading, I notice, okay, they've checked off, they've got everything included, boom, 3. All right. As I'm reading through it, can I tell that they understand what the functions of each of them are? Okay, if they can, great, 3, and of course you can look at what they have here on the 4 level again. But understand, that's just some things I thought of that would might boost or go beyond the mastery expectations. There may be other things you might include that would go beyond that maybe I didn't think of, and that's okay. I'm leaving that open. All right. Uh, Again, oops, sorry. Right here, accurately trace the macronutrients and the enzymatic interactions each one goes through. So as these things are traveling through, do you include the enzymes at the appropriate time in the appropriate organs? Do you kind of explain what they do? I mean, as far as their role in breaking down these different macronutrients? If so, boom, you got it. All right. Explain the unique process and methods each macronutrients undergo in order to cross cell boundaries. Those are the concepts of cell transport: passive diffusion, facilitated diffusion, active transport, endo and exocytosis. Again, I'm looking, do you understand what that is? So if you say this substance crosses using facilitated diffusion, great, you may have identified it accurately, but do you know what a facilitated diffusion is? You may need to have some sort of a descriptor in there in your own words, stated simply, that will help me understand that you know what facilitated diffusion is compared to active transport or passive diffusion. Of course, creativity and originality. I struggle with getting the wording right on this thing, but I want you got. Here's what I don't want. I don't want, like I said earlier, a Google search result kind of reworded, change a few words here and there, and then just dumped onto a slide and handed in. Because again, I can't tell if you really understand that. If you just went through the legwork of looking up the information, maybe changing a few words here and there, and putting it out there. I want to know whether you actually understand this stuff, and that's what this product's going to help me do, is determine that. And like I said, I'm going to grade you using this rubric. So use this as a checklist, but understand this digestion is a sequence of events. It's a story, a saga, a dialogue, whatever you want to call it, all right? And with different things coming into play at different times depending on the stimulus and what's going on. So keep that in mind. So as I'm reading through this thing, I'm going to have this right here next to me, and I'm going to start checking off. All right, did they meet this? Did they have all these things identified or included in the product? So again, that's my explanation of what I'm looking for. I hope that helps. Again, you can have this video. It's yours. It's going to be on my website for you guys to check out. Again, over here's the another thing that I sent you, keeping us focused on why and what we're doing. Remember, we're still trying to answer this question: how could food rather than drugs be used as a natural remedy? We've established our organic biochemical base. Now we're moving into human biology and understanding first of all, the normal digestive response of the food you eat, whether it's grandma's home cooking or whether it's McDonald's fast food meal. How does your body deal with these different macronutrients? Pretty quickly, we're moving into the endocrine response, and then eventually the immune response, and then start bringing this thing back around, because we're going to start tying these things in to real food and how it affects our bodies and how we respond to it, and see if we can start figuring out how. I mean, is it possible, for number one, and if so, how? How can you use these types of foods, natural foods, to heal? All right. So again, pay attention to the objectives. All right. Pay attention to the scoring guide. All right. Keep that. You can. I've got hard copies over here that'll have the sub hand to you, but you guys can have a copy of that and take a look at it. Again, here's just a list. It's not limited to this list. I mean, if you can think of something else, run it by me. No problem. If you want to send your product in for some feedback, great. If you do create this on a Google document, I recommend creating and put it starting from that folder that I shared with you. Create it in there, and then that way it's automatically in there. You don't have to worry about sharing it and then moving it and all that stuff. So if you go directly to that folder, like for instance, I'll show you. If you go here, I find your folder. Right, let's say student folders, first block. If I went to Miss Armstrong's folder here, and I wanted to create something, when I create it, it'll automatically be in there. I don't have to move it around at all. All right. So create it from that folder, and it's already handed in. Again, that depends on if you're doing an electronic version of something. It could be this drawing here is pretty user friendly. This is a web tool, Lucid Chart, if you want to download that onto your Chrome, whatever. Here's a form if you want to try to create a test. All right, using multiple choices or whatever. I mean, just make sure you have an answer key ready to hand in as well. Presentations, just a Word document, you want to create a story or a saga or a dialogue, whatever. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Again, this thing is due on Monday and Tuesday next week for odd and even classes. So you've had several days to work on this. I haven't assigned any homework other than be working on this, so I expect this thing to be done. Meeting deadlines is an important thing you got to be able to do, and that's what it's going to be due because we have other things we've got to move on to. We are time bound. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time in the world, so we've got to move on and get this stuff taken care of. So again, due Monday and Tuesday for odd and even classes. Get this thing done. I expect great things, but again, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Uh, Pay attention to those objectives. I just want to know, can you identify all the organs? Do you know what they do? Do you know when and where those enzymes come into play and what they do to the macronutrients and which macronutrients they act upon? That's a pretty good sum up of what I'm looking for. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. Be awesome, and I'll see you later.